Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to take a nice look at the NASCAR results from Atlanta this past weekend. The truck, the O'Reilly, and the Cup Series both had their second race of the season at the second drafting track of the year, and we're going to take a look at kind of the finishing order, how the championship contenders kind of did, and kind of who's already on the back foot when it comes to making the chase this year. I know we're 2 weeks in, but these gaps are already getting pretty large for some of our championship contenders. Start with the trucks, and it was Aspire 1-2 for the Cup guys. It's Kyle Busch winning what I think was his 68th Truck Series race. That's absolutely insane. Followed to the line by Carson Hocevar. What a great duo that was. Um, Depending on how the contract situation for Kyle Busch runs out, there's been a lot of rumors about Kyle Busch being an Aspire car next year. What a group of teammates that is. Carson Hocevar reminds a lot of people of a young Kyle Busch. Hasn't quite had the success yet that Kyle had at the same age, but who knows what the future could hold for him. I do expect we'll see Carson Hocevar winning a Cup race in the near future. After that, third place, we got our first Truck Series regular, was Gio Ruggiero. Speaking of guys showing some immaculate talent here, Gio Ruggiero is starting to remind me a little bit of Justin Haley when it comes to these drafting tracks. He's always there up at the front. He won the ARCA race. He ran really well at Daytona in the trucks. He won at Talladega last year, I believe, in the trucks. And now here he is at Atlanta, the best of the rest. Following him to the finish line, the former champion Ben Rhodes. We know what we got with Ben Rhodes. It's a strong, consistent championship contending driver. And he is doing what he needs to do to hold serve and kind of keep Chandler Smith from running away with this regular season title. Fifth place, it's the number one of Corey Heim, putting together a good result after his stinker of a performance at Daytona in the Cup Series. Ran well in the duels, he qualified well. Finish just didn't come together for him, so it's nice to see him get back on track here. Sixth place, Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith doing more than enough to hold serve with his championship lead. Won at Daytona and was able to get that big point gap from winning that race, and that's something we're going to see with the Truck Series and to an extent the O'Reilly Series, is that when these Cup guys drop down, or even the likes of Corey Heim, people who are not running a full schedule, when they are the ones that win these races, that's a big point jump that's not going to a Truck Series regularly. So Chandler Smith, by virtue of winning Daytona and winning a race at all, he has quite the cushion that these other drivers are going to have to really work together, or not work together, but work hard to, cut into that gap if they're not going to be winning races. So Chandler Smith, sixth place, more than enough to maintain his points lead. Seventh place, it's Jake Garcia for ThorSport. Good run for Jake Garcia, was able to keep his nose mostly clean. Following that, it's two more Cup Series regulars, and John Hunter Nemechek and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It's two more positions that are preventing the truck guys from making up points that they may have, that may cost them at the end when it comes to making that playoff line. And then in 10th place, rounding out that top 10, is Justin Haley. Justin Haley shows out as a great restrictor plate racer. Didn't get the finish he wanted at Daytona, but looks like him and Collier are putting it together a little bit better here at Atlanta, getting the top 10. We go to our point standings, and there we go. Chandler Smith, 103 points. He is our points leader, leading Atlanta and heading into St. Petersburg next week. That'll be fun. He has 28 points up on Gio Ruggiero, our second place man. 35 back in third place is Ben Rhodes. Ty Majeski, his teammate, 43 points back. Stuart Friesen, he'll be quite happy to get out of those drafting tracks in fifth place, only 44 back. He has surprised me quite a bit. I did not expect him to be bouncing back from that horrific injury as well as he has. It'll be interesting to see how he does at the streets of St. Petersburg and as we move on to the intermediate and short tracks on the schedule. But I don't think you could ask for much more if you're Stuart Friesen. Sixth place, it's our Rookie of the Year favorite so far, I would say. It's Butterbean Queen. He is the top Ram driver as well for Colleague. He is 50 points back. In sixth place, tied with him is the 11 of Caden Honeycutt and the 44 of Andres Perez de Lara. All of them are 50 points back. So this is where we got to see a little bit of a logjam. In all of these cases, Trucks, Cup, and O'Reilly, the leader has the big gap. So, the difference between Gio Ruggiero and Perez de Lara there, it's 22 points. That can easily be made up, but the gap to get to the point leader is just a little bit more than that. All these guys are going to be looking to win their first race to try and cut into that to get that big advantage come chase time. Ninth place, it's Tyler Ankrum. He's 52 back. And rounding out our top 10 is Christian Eckes in the 91 car, 56 point back. Ankrum and Christian Eckes came into this year expecting to be championship contenders. And they are doing quite well so far, but not as well as I think they will be hoping to do. They're going to be going into St. Petersburg looking to jump over some of these guys that they expect to be ahead of. I think Andres Perez de Lara in 8th place it's a great start for him. But those guys behind him, Ankrum and Eckes, they're looking at him and maybe even Butterbean Queen and Stuart Friesen as guys that they need to get ahead of and that they should be ahead of. Now we're looking at the guys who are in early trouble. These guys had a really bad week or 2 weeks, and they've put themselves into a bit of a hole here. First off, in 23rd, it's Lane Riggs. Oh man, I erased that at some point. Must have rubbed up against it. He is 25th, and he is 29th. Lane Riggs in 23rd. His teammates leading the points. And Lane Riggs is 77 points behind him. 21 points back of the final chase position. And it's not only that he's 21 points back, there are 13 drivers in between them. So even if he makes up 21 points on Christian Eckes, those are 13 other guys that he has to pass that he's hoping y'all also need to stumble for him to get by. And granted, there's a lot of guys in between Eckes and Lane Riggs that had really hot starts that should cool off. Lane Riggs still is going to need to perform to get to build up and get in front of these guys, because Christian Eckes is no slouch, Tyler Ankrum is no slouch, Honeycutt, Butterbean Queen is shown to be pretty adept at tracks that he in theory should have been his weaknesses. Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, these are guys that he needs to make up 27 to 42 points on. He's absolutely capable of doing it, but it's such a hole to be in, only 2 races in. And you go further on down, Grant Enfinger, he's 25th, 79 back, and Daniel Hemrick, 29th, 86 back. Lane Riggs, the thing that Lane Riggs has that the other two are going to have some trouble with is Lane Riggs is very capable of stringing together wins. He's done it the last couple of years where he's strung together a couple wins, and now this year, that's going to be such a big benefit to him. Grant Enfinger and Daniel Hemrick, they are not known to fire off multiple race wins. Daniel Hemrick especially. Grant Enfinger, he absolutely could, but since he's joined CR7, that's not been the kind of Grant Enfinger we've seen. He has been consistent and top 5 and top 10ing you to death. When you are already in a hole with 15 drivers in between you and Chase, that becomes a lot harder to do. So I think we're looking at some guys that need to start clicking off some wins if they're going to get past a bunch of these really talented guys who have no rush to lose their chase spot. Moving on to the O'Reilly Series, what a popular win. Sheldon Creed getting his first career O'Reilly Series win after 15 second place finishes. It had long ago become a meme. I remember when Connor Zilisch won his first Bennett Xfinity Series race at Watkins Glen. Sheldon Creed was running second, and no one was sure whether Zilisch was going to make it on fuel. And I was pretty confident that the fact that Sheldon Creed was in second meant that Zilisch was going to make it so that Creed would finish second again. Really cool that he won that race. He kept the nose clean and kept himself in position when the inevitable Chastain-Austin Hill muck-up happened. Following him to the finish line, Parker Retzlaff and Nick Sanchez. What a great run for those two guys. Both have shown out to be great drafters. What great finishes for those teams, Viking and AM Motorsports. Unreal. Both of them had a shot at the win too. Things went a little bit different, but both of them are going to firmly place themselves in contention to make the chase. It's still going to be an uphill battle for those guys against the JGRs and the Junior Motorsports that are chasing them, but the best they can do is put themselves into position, and they have done that so far. Fourth place, Corey Day. What a race Corey Day had. A lot of guys ended up in the wall off of his bumper, and a lot of people are questioning whether he deserves to have a Hendrick O'Reilly Series ride. I think it's undeniable that the talent is there, even though it is a little bit rough. But at the end of the day, he brought that thing home in fourth place, and he is hanging on as reasonably comfortably to a chase spot as one can at this point in the season. I think there's going to be some growing pains with him. But with the kind of runs that he's had so far, the speed's obviously there. At some point in time, someone's going to return favor on him, I think. But he should be winning races pretty quick, I would reckon. That car's too fast, and he's too talented a driver. Fifth place, Jesse Love in the 2 car. What absolute belt to butt race those Childress cars put on the field, and they will not have a win to show for it again. Jesse Love, he stepped up whenever Austin Hill fell back, and Austin Hill vice versa when Jesse Love was falling back. It looked like it was going to be another RCR masterclass at these tracks, and it just fell apart on them a little bit at the end. Still fifth place, Jesse Love has himself firmly in position to contend for his second consecutive championship. We're going to go to the road courses next week, and we're going to see more of the same from him. He's shown to be quite the little road racer, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see him eat into his teammates' points lead, if not overtake it altogether next week. Sixth place, Ross Chastain. You either love or hate Ross Chastain after that move. He was leading in the final laps of that race. Austin Hill made a wicked pass on him to take the lead back. And Chastain had him all set up to pass on the backstretch. He made one heck of a dive, and Austin Hill went to block it maybe a little too late. It might have been a little too brave of a move from Chastain. But at the end of the day, Austin Hill went spinning through the infield. What a heck of a catch he made, too. I couldn't believe he saved that thing. That was something wild. You're not going to see him on this list, but Austin Hill, I finished, I believe, 12th place. Any normal driver would have put that thing into the wall and taken out half the field. So Austin Hill finishing 12th after that, top notch. And Ross Chastain finished 6th for Jordan Anderson Racing, really showing the power and the talent that those Jordan Anderson Racing guys got in putting together a drafting track car. Couple different zigs instead of zags, and Ross Chastain's in victory lane. 7th, Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer is going to be known more for his post race, um, giving the thumbs up to Sheldon Creed, then cutting across the grass and taking off his front end. That's what he's going to be remembered for. But he was the pole sitter. He ran really well most of the race. He was able to bring it home in the top 10, and he really needed that because he had a terrible Daytona. He is still not in the top 12, I don't believe. Yeah, he's not in the top 12 points, but he's not so far out that you need to be ringing the panic button for him yet. So a solid 7th place run for Sam Mayer. He really needed that. 8th place, Raja Karuth. 2nd in stage 1, 1st in stage 2. Probably the fastest car in the field. I would say it was him or the 21 that were the fastest cars in the field. Lots of learning experience for Raja Karuth. A little bit more experience, and that 88 car might have been in victory lane. Raj is doing everything he needs to do. He's logging laps, he's running up front, he's contending, and if he keeps this up, there's no reason to think a victory is not going to come at some point this season. And he has himself looking at 2nd in the championship so far, so nothing to complain about there. 9th, Taylor Gray. He is absolutely carrying the banner for JGR so far this year, as he did last year, really, to be honest. Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones, the first sign of life for JGR this season. Rounding out the top 10. William Sawalich, not much to show for. Gio Ruggiero ran reasonably well. Wasn't able to put together a finish like he did in the truck series. But it's got to start somewhere. And for the JGR boys here, a couple top 10s, bringing that thing home in one piece. And then they can go on to the road courses next. The points battle, it's Austin Hill, our points leader. Lots of stage points, and the win at Daytona will do that for you. Raja Karuth has cut into that lead, though, with an 8th place finish today and 19 stage points. Stage points are still going to matter, and especially as we get closer to the end, I think we're going to start seeing some big swings. But P2 in the championship so far for Raja Karuth is above and beyond expectations, I think, for him. And it'll be interesting to see how he does as we move over to the road courses and the intermediates. In theory, the intermediates are where he should shine. 3rd race winner, Sheldon Creed, 24 points back. Sheldon Creed, that's right where I expect him to be most of the year. He'll be between 1st and 5th, I think, most of the year. He's strong, he's consistent. Now he's a race winner. I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see him make an effort to go back-to-back, even though SVG is going to be in the race next week. And I don't know if Zilich is. I haven't checked the entry list for next week yet, but I know SVG is going to be in that race. That'll be something else. It might be a race for 2nd again, but who knows? 4th place, Jesse Love, trying to go back-to-back in the championship. He is very much in striking distance. 5th place, this is the first fun one, Parker Reslav for Viking, 30 points back. I don't think people reasonably expect Parker Reslav to make it into this final, the top 12 and make the chase this year, but he is doing everything that he needs to do. He's kept his nose clean, he's maximized the finishes that he can get out of it, and he is watching those that can pass him make mistakes. So when we get to the bottom, we're looking at guys like, Harrison Burton's in the 24 Sam Hunt car. He's supposed to be on the fringes of making the chase. He's already 64 points behind Parker Reslav. That 24 car can win a race on a really good day if the stars are aligned, but Parker Reslav has shown that so can the 99, and a 64 point gap. You're going to need to win races to make those up. So it's hard to really say Parker Reslav has a good chance to hold on to this spot. but I think he has a better chance than anyone would have given him 2 weeks ago at making the chase. Viking, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do at the road courses and how they do at the intermediates. See if they found any speed that wasn't there last year. Sixth place, Justin Allgaier. Not the best race at Atlanta. Really kind of threw away whatever good runs he had at Daytona. Still very much in the hunt though. Sixth place is still well within striking distance, and I don't think there's any cause for concern on Justin Allgaier being in any danger yet. Ditto with his teammate in seventh place, Carson Kvapil, another Final Four contender from last year. Kvapil still looking for that first win. Looks like he was going to have a chance at it this week. Crashed out in one of those late cautions while contending for the lead. Now we're going to go to the road courses where he has shown, honestly, like a weird ability there. Like, he was never quite at the level of Connor Zilic or SVG. That being said, he is, but he's definitely gleaned some sort of experience from those guys. Eighth place in the standings, Corey Day, obviously buoyed by his performance in Atlanta. It'll be interesting to see how he does at the road courses. We haven't seen him. I don't think we've seen him run a road course in the O'Reilly Series yet. See if he can put together some good runs over the next couple weeks. I don't think it's a terrible surprise to see him running around the 8th to 10th place. That's kind of where I think most people expected him to kind of be at the back end of the JRM guys. And he is squished right in between Allgaier, Kvapil, and in 9th place, Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith, I expect him to have a really good run next week. He's a little more hot and cold than his teammates have been. But when he's hot, he can go out there and get some victories. And I expect Sammy Smith to start rattling some off. I think he's going to have quite a strong year, especially in comparison to last year. 10th place is our second surprise, right? Now listen to A2. Wow. He is maximizing, just like Parker Retzlaff, he's maximizing every opportunity he's gotten. And even if it all ends next week, it'll be pretty cool for Ryan Ellis to say he left Atlanta in the top 10 in the driver standings. He's maximizing what points he's able to get, and he's taking advantage of everyone else's misfortunes. And that's all he can really ask for. In 11th, it's Taylor Gray. He is the only JGR car currently in the chase. I cannot imagine that continues on all year. I have to imagine Taylor Gray will be joined by at least one, if not three, of his teammates by the end of the year. But Taylor Gray doing really well so far. He's going to the road courses where he showed some great talent last year. He was one of the few that could contend with Connor Zilic at Mexico. So I wouldn't be too surprised to watch him contend here at, I believe they're going to Kota. And then 12th place, it's a tie between Brennan Poole. What a run for Brennan Poole. Like Ryan Ellis and Parker Retzlaff, maximizing everything he could get. And Patrick Staropoli in the 48 for Big Machine. Definitely not performing at the level of Nick Sanchez, but he's doing better than I think most people expected for 2 races. I don't think we'd be terribly surprised to watch him fall out of the tie for 12th place, but it's cool to see someone like that living their dream and not being a moving chicane like some of the others in both the O'Reilly Series and the Truck Series. For the guys here who are in early trouble, it's Harrison Burton in 34th and Jeremy Clements in 30th. Harrison Burton is 33 points back of that final chase spot. Jeremy Clements is 23 back. Both of these guys are fringe chase contenders as it is. And don't get me wrong, you can put the JGR guys in here. You can put a myriad of other guys in here, like Sam Mayer's not in the top 12, but they're all close enough to where I wouldn't want to be ringing the panic button yet. if Harrison Burton had any delusion of making the top 12 this year, it is running out fast. Same with Jeremy Clemens. Um, they both need to start clicking off some top 10s and bringing those cars home in one piece if they're going to have any chance at seeing daylight and getting into that top 12. Now we're on to the Cup Series, the main event here, and it's the same as last week. Tyler Reddick goes 2 for 2. What a start for Tyler Reddick. 2 for 2 after going winless last year. Unreal start for the 45 team. Chase Briscoe, second place. Kind of bouncing back from a really bad Daytona. He is pretty much the only JGR car who has anything positive to look at for this week in Atlanta. Ross Chastain finishes third. He looked like he was in the driver's seat for a nice period at the end there. He had the fresh tires and he was kind of moving wherever he could. Carson Hocevar, he's the reason Christopher Bell's 100 points out right now, to be honest. He took that thing 3 wide. I don't think there was a lane for 3 wide, but he took it anyway. He brought the car home in 4th. I don't think he really cares what I think. Excellent run from Hocevar, by the way. 2nd place in the truck race, 4th place in the Cup race. Unreal. And he did all that while no one in the Cup Series really wanted to help him. 5th place, Daniel Suarez, former winner on Atlanta. We shouldn't be terribly surprised by that. We're going to Circuit of the Americas next week, where Spire has it all together. Daniel Suarez should be a dark horse contender for that race. He's a winner at Infineon. There's no reason why he shouldn't be a contender at Coda if the car under him is competitive. 6th place, Shane Van Gisbergen. His best oval result by far. If he starts figuring this out, the series is in trouble because he's way closer on ovals to the leaders than anyone else is to him on road courses. It looked like for a good portion of this race, Shane Van Gisbergen might have had the car to win. We watched Kyle Larson cut across his nose for what reason, I don't know. He spun through the infield like he was Lightning McQueen, came back out, and he drove it back up to pretty much the lead and then fell back to 6th. Missed out on his first oval top 5, but now we're going to Circuit of the Americas, where I am sure he is going to look to win this race by a minute and a half. 7th place, Zane Smith. Story of the year so far, I think, is Zane Smith. 2 great runs to start the year. Honestly, I think he was the best performing Ford guy. Even if you don't look at the results, the RFK guys were kind of hit and miss most of the day. Priest really only showed up at the end. Keselowski was kind of there at the beginning. Busher came and went a lot, but Zane Smith was always kind of fighting up towards the front. It was him and the Penske guys, really. Blaney and Logano were up there until Logano got taken out. It'll be interesting to see if Zane Smith can kind of have his Michael McDowell run. Michael McDowell won Daytona, locked himself into the playoffs that one year. But even if you ignore the fact that he was locked in, he really kind of held himself right in that top 16 of the points all year long. And it'll be interesting to see if Zane Smith can do that as well. Starting off really well. He's 5th in points, which, granted, we've only had 2 drafting tracks so far, so it shouldn't be that much of a surprise, but I think it's been pretty impressive from Zane Smith. And he's shown to be quite the little road racer, too, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do at Circuit of the Americas. 8th place, 2 races, and 2 what could have been for Bubba Wallace. Led the most laps at Daytona, lost it at the end, was leading late here in Atlanta, and threw a block on Carson Hocevar, and I think he overthrew the block, and Carson got to his inside. And that was all she wrote. The line he was leading was then taken over by Tyler Reddick, who went on to win. So Bubba's probably going to be replaying that one in his head for the week. and he is not known as a strong road racer, though I do believe he has gotten way better than he used to be. Um, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder trying to finish off the job, because it could very easily be Bubba Wallace 2 for 2 instead of his teammate. Ninth, Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece really wasn't much of anywhere most of the day. He ended up coming back and being the best finishing RFK driver, which is good, because he was the RFK driver last week that didn't have anything to show for his good performance. He's just a touch behind his teammates in points. So we got Keselowski and Buescher 9th and 10th, and Preece is there in 14th. So all three RFK guys are currently in the top 16, which is probably where they all want to be. And I think that's quite the impressive performance for Ryan Preece. It'll be interesting to see how he does at Circuit of the Americas. He's definitely improved in the road racing aspects of it, but I wouldn't consider him a favorite by any stretch of the imagination. 10th place, Ryan Blaney. I would say 10th place after the race he had, he will take it. Ryan Blaney got beaten from pillar to post. He watched all his friends leave him and all his friends get destroyed, and he's coming home with a top 10, and he'll be quite happy to leave Atlanta at this point. Point standings. What will 2 wins get you? A 40-point lead, Tyler Reddick. And he's going to go to COTA, where he has shown to be very strong. If it wasn't for SVG, I would say Tyler Reddick might be the favorite at Circuit of the Americas. His teammate Bubba Wallace, second in points. What a great start to the year for 2311. Could you ask for anything more from these guys? Third place, Chase Elliott. Almost won Daytona, had a really unassuming Atlanta, and now he's going to go to Circuit of the Americas, where much like Tyler Reddick, if it wasn't for SVG, he would be a favorite to win this race. Carson Hocevar is in 4th in points. Biggest thing for Hocevar and for Zane Smith is going to be to minimize your bad days. They have both shown that now that they have the speed. They can contend with the leaders. They can contend with the race winners. They should be on the list, very high on the list of who's going to win who's going to be the next first-time winner in the Cup Series. I would say Hocevar has surpassed Ty Gibbs as the favorite for that at this point, which Ty Gibbs must hate, but 4th in points, going to a road course. He was very good at the road courses in the Truck Series. He has shown quite a bit of speed in the Cup Series so far. I wouldn't expect him to win at Circuit of the Americas, but I would hope that his team can tell him, or can at least kind of get it in his head that do not throw this one away, and good points days do indeed matter now. It'll be interesting to see if those two can have some good runs and kind of keep their momentum swinging in the right direction. They're 51 or 54 points back of Tyler Reddick, but I don't think you're going to hear any complaints from those guys right now. 6th place, it's Joey Logano. Joey Logano got a lot of stage points and got taken out late at Atlanta. Definitely helped the damage control. He's only 57 points back. Daniel Suarez, it's like a whole different guy this year. Had a terrible year last year at Trackhouse, but he's showing out for Spire so far in that 7 car. 58 points back. And right up there with his teammate, the Spire guy's looking pretty well. The 3rd Spire car, Michael McDowell, had some terrible luck at Daytona and some terrible luck at Atlanta. I wouldn't be too surprised to see all 3 Spire cars running in the top 10 next week. They're all very talented road racers. There's no reason they shouldn't be up there. The problem that Suarez, Hocevar, and McDowell have is they have no problem running up there, but for whatever reason, they have a heck of a time finishing up there. 8th place, Ryan Blaney, as we discussed. Ryan Blaney, very good road racer, one of the most well-rounded drivers in the series. 58 points back. He's going to look to cut to that lead. Blaney is definitely one of these guys who's looking at that 58-point gap to Tyler Reddick, and that's the gap they're looking at. They're not looking at staying in the top 16. They're looking at how do we catch Tyler Reddick, and the answer is to win some damn races. Ninth place, Brad Keselowski. It'll be interesting to see how he does at Circuit of the Americas with his broken leg. Joey Hand will be on standby for that one, but I would expect Brad to start the race at the very least. Ninth in points. Not quite as great a road racer as he used to be. It's his teammate in 10th, tied on points with him, Chris Buescher, that I think is going to be the flag bearer for RFK. Road course race winner, very strong, his home track. He's racing at Texas, that'll be quite nice. Chris Buescher, I think he is, if RFK can continue this strong start they've had at the drafting tracks onwards through road courses and the intermediates, that's another guy who's going to be staring at Tyler Reddick as the goal instead of the top 16 as the goal. After that, Ross Chastain. We know Ross Chastain's good at Circuit of the Americas. This is where he got his first win. His main goal is going to try and beat SVG like everyone else here. Ross Chastain, 11th. I don't think he's going to be complaining too much about that. Building off of what was a very good result at Atlanta, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him in the top 3 at Dakota either. 12th place, and this is the interesting one. I've had to go look at the results of both the races and find out how the heck Noah Gragson ended up in 12th. I think he should be overjoyed for that. I think that's better than anyone expected Noah Gragson to be positioned after 2 races, regardless of what those 2 races are. Now we're going to a road course. And Noah Gragson hasn't really shown to be the best road course racer in the world, but he's playing with house money at this point. He's tied with William Byron in points. That's just interesting to see, isn't it? William Byron is looking at Tyler Reddick, while Noah Gragson is looking at SVG in terms of this. Noah Gregson's definitely going to be trying to build a bit of a gap to make sure he can stay in the top 16. William Byron's looking to win some races to see if he can catch Tyler Reddick. There's a bit of a dichotomy in how this kind of field is looking right now. You got these guys in the top 16 who expect to be here, who are looking to kind of, they want those bonus points for the chase, and these guys who are hoping to be there. And when it comes to guys who are hoping to be there, I would say Hocevar, Zane Smith, Noah Gragson. Those were guys that they're with house money now, and they're just, I would assume, they're all going to say their goal is the championship, I would imagine, but right now they're kind of calculating how far ahead they are, 17th and 16th, and seeing what their gap is, and kind of trying to mitigate their bad days and really take advantage when they got a chance at some really good points. Noah Gragson is a guy who I could see going for some stage points at Circuit of the Americas. I don't imagine the speed will be there for him to be contending for victory, but he'll absolutely be gunning for those stage points, not pitting at the end of stages. William Byron, on the other hand, like I said, he's going for victory. He is going to be one of those guys trying to chase down SVG, and he is absolutely capable of doing it. Ryan Preece, much like his teammates Brad and Chris, it'll be interesting to see how those cars are set up for the road courses. We always knew they were going to be great on the drafting tracks. Preece, probably not as strong of a road racer as Chris Buescher, but he's definitely more than capable of holding serve and keeping himself in the top 16 through the Circuit of the Americas race weekend. 15, Chase Briscoe, terrible Daytona, great Atlanta. I expect Chase Briscoe to be contending for victory here too, especially if Shane Van Gisbergen stumbles. His biggest problem is that he's tied on points with Shane Van Gisbergen. Great race at Atlanta for Shane, and he is going into Circuit of the Americas as the unquestioned favorite to win this race. So I would not be too surprised to see Shane Van Gisbergen win stage 1, win stage 2, and win the race. And he could absolutely make it up to as high as P2 in the standings after this race, which would be crazy. But the big thing with SVG is he really needs to maximize his point days at these road courses. He has definitely improved on the ovals. He's improved on all facets of the NASCAR racetracks. But when he is at the road courses, he has to make every point count. And it'll be interesting to see at Circuit of the Americas whether he can do that. That's the only road course he did not win last year. So the guys that are in early trouble here, we got Denny Hamlin, 27th in points. He is 13 points back. That's not a huge gap, but it's cause for concern that he has 11 guys in between him and the chase so far. Ran good at Atlanta, ran really decently good at Daytona, got caught up in someone else's mess on both occasions. 31st, the 20 car of Christopher Bell, he's 100 points behind Tyler Reddick. After 2 races, that's an insane gap. Denny Hamlin's 93 points behind Tyler Reddick. The JGR guys, outside of Chase Briscoe, have had a nightmare start to this season. And don't get me wrong, I expect Hamlin and Bell to make it into the chase. But now they have to really start stringing together wins and hoping that these guys in front of them stumble. Tyler Reddick needs to stumble. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, they all need to stumble. Like, even if you remove Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell are 60 points back of the guys in second and third. So that's a bunch of guys they need to leap. And, even if Bubba Wallace has a bad day, Chase Elliott won't. That doesn't mean Chase Elliott's going to have a bad day. So they really need to start getting it into gear and start stringing together some good runs. Their consistency needs to start now. 32nd, Alex Bowman. The 4th Hendrick car is looking every bit of 4th Hendrick car right now. You're making up 63 points on Chase Elliott. Unlikely, I would say. Are you going to make up 27 points on SVG? Well, you might, but going into a road course, you would expect that number to increase. Alex Bowman, Christopher Bell, both of them are great road racers, but when the bubble line is SVG, what are you going to do? That gap is more likely to get bigger than it is to get smaller. Ty Gibbs, 108 points back, 33rd in points. He has 17 guys in between him and SVG, and he has not shown the consistency needed to make up that ground in a meaningful fashion. The last couple of years, Ty Gibbs has been kind of fingered as the guy who is going to be the next one to win his first Cup race, and this year it doesn't feel like people have that expectation of him anymore. And that might benefit him or it might not. But 33rd, the worst of the JGR cars, in an early part of the season where 3 JGR cars are 27th or worse in the points and you're still the worst one, that's not a good look. And then, while I don't consider him much of a chase contender, Connor Zilic, the last of the full-time guys, 111 points back, 31 back of SVG. It's been a trying season so far for Mr. Zilic, the 19-year-old. I expect him to contend at Circuit of the Americas. Do I expect him to win the race? Not particularly. I still think SVG is the clear favorite for this. But Connor Zilic needs to start seeing the end of races one way or another. He has a hole that's not impossible to dig out of. I don't expect him to dig out of it. But last of the full-time drivers is not where Connor Zilic, Trackhouse, or really anyone else I think expected him to be. And he's on a long list of guys on this side of the board who are wondering how the heck they're so far behind already. But next day or two, we're going to take a look at next week's races, and we're going to take a look at the IndyCar season debut at St. Petersburg as well. See you guys then.